Just a second. All right. Okay, so good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. My name is Angel, and I'm here with Alexandra Pope and Sjanie Wurlitzer, if I got that correct.
You did, yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
The authors of Wild Power and also the founders of Red School. And I just want to say that these women have been probably the largest inspiration for this summit and my own work in spreading menstrual cycle awareness to other women in the world. So I'm really excited to have both of them on for this interview. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to hear that.
It's really lovely hearing that, Angel. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both. Okay, so I actually just wanted to ask both of you a couple of questions that I had previously written down. I wanted to know what inspired you guys to this work.
Yes, we get asked that question a lot, and really it came from within, and it's like a calling, and something sort of ineffable in a way that was working through us. And the way that it worked through me was firstly in my 20s being very drawn to fertility awareness. I just thought women have to know how their bodies work. So that was just, taking charge of my fertility and using natural methods for contraception. And then I got the most outrageous period pain in my early 30s. And I just had this deep implicit feeling that my body was trying to communicate something to me. And this pain was insane. And it came back month after month after that. And I just deeply chose to believe in my body and follow it, because I was into natural therapies. I just wasn't going to do drugs and surgery. It just wasn't my path. So I charted this course of natural healing. But the significant thing was I started to really give space to menstruation, because of course I couldn't do anything. I was in agony. So I thought I'll organize my life around it and just be with my body. And, I write about this in my first book, Wild Genie. And it's quite simple to say it now, but it took place over time. But it was like the veils parted, angels. That the veils fell from my eyes. I just started feeling this kind of inner cosmos sort of wake up inside me. And then from there, I began teaching what I was discovering. And then it became other women's stories that started to weave in. And it just literally expanded from that. I have just kept an abiding presence with this work. And it has organized me and shown itself, if you like, through the women that I've worked with. And I have a background as a psychotherapist. So, I have that sort of skill and capacity for being able to listen into those emergent forces, if you like. Yeah. And then I met Sjanie. She came to a workshop of mine many years ago in England. And Sjanie, do you want to say something about?
Yeah, I was, when you asked the question, Angel, it sort of just struck me in that moment that menstruality is the medicine for our times. So we both feel this very strongly, that the consciousness that evolves and that we come to inhabit from paying attention to our cycle is really what the world is needing now, to kind of restore balance and to restore this responsiveness and relationship with the natural world. And as Alexandra said, for me too, it was this work is my calling, and all the little synchronicities and coincidences and bits and pieces I did over my life were all leading me to be a channel for this work in the world. And it was really, I had my own experience where I was on contraception, came off it, and then had the experience of having my cycles returned and just feeling the difference of what that meant for me to, as a human being in this world, to be so deeply connected to this cyclicity and this these inner landscapes of organic aliveness.
Mm.
It really showed me what it means, and what it means for us individually, but also for us as a species. And you know, when Alexandra and I came together to really serve this work together, things exploded and evolved in exponential ways, which again just sort of tells the story of how it's the sharing of our insights and understandings that arise through the cycle that helps this consciousness to evolve. So we love having conversations like this, because things move forward in a new way every time we come together and talk about what we're noticing and discovering. So it's very exciting, really.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for that. I feel like I have similar experiences, and it has basically just been something that's been taking place inside of me and waking up. And I actually, I started like accidentally working with my cycle more consciously, kind of accidentally, but I just got more freedom in my life, and I decided to stay home and rest and listen to my body. And my body started mentoring me, and it had been teaching me for a couple of years. And then I came across Wild Power, and it was just like this explosion happened inside of me, because everything my body had been telling me I was now reading in words on paper, and it just awakened an even more powerful calling inside of me to share this with more women. And I'm just so grateful that you both have been charting this path. It's making a really big difference on the planet.
Thank you. Yeah, and Alexandra really is the kind of at the forefront of that pioneering. She has been at this for 40 odd years, so I really feel like, you know, honoring her is yeah.
Absolutely. What else was I going to ask you? So, for someone who's been on this journey for 40 years or so, that's remarkable, by the way. I have so much respect and honor for you as a matriarch of this work. I would love to know, in your own experience, what has been one of the most challenging pieces for you on the journey?
Oh, do you know, when you ask me that question, I actually feel tears slightly just stir in me, because I think the most challenging thing has been just speaking about it. You know, now today, in the last 3 or 4 years or 5 years, you know, menstruation has almost become the flavor of the month. You know, menstrual cycle awareness is the next big thing. You know, everyone's talking about it on social media. You know, and I talk about the dark ages when I was starting out, and it took enormous courage to actually speak out about this in a positive way, because my generation of feminists, you know, I'm second wave feminist, was very much about, you know, we can't speak about the cycle, we just have to ignore it and pretend it's not there, because this, you know, we've just got to get out there and do stuff. And we
yeah,
had,
and that it's a limitation or a weakness, actually.
yes, it's a limitation or weakness, and we've just got to override it and sort of kind of be like men. And that's how it was back then. You couldn't talk about it, you know, really. I got that, except that I was realizing that we had to talk about it, because this is such a vital part of who we are. You can't just ignore a cycle, and there not be consequences to it, Angel. And I, you know, I am nothing if not bullish sometimes. If someone says you can't do it, that's like a red rag to a bull to me. So I do have that sort of very kind of outspoken spirit, but I also have a very sensitive nature. It's an interesting combination. And it took huge courage to just keep turning up and naming this as valuable. And, you know, I'd been on national radio. I was in Australia at the time when it first began. And I was on television and national radio and things like that. And you know, and people used to, I can just think it just was almost shaming, you know, people patronizing me about it, or sort of thinking of it as sort of hippie-ish, actually, you know, as though that's sort of in the 60s and, you know, dated somehow, and we've grown beyond that. And I'm going, well, maybe it is hippie-ish. It's about nature, actually, yes, and we need that. But it's also much more about that. It is about this huge power and authority that we can tap into, that comes from being rooted in our being. And I could not talk about it, but it did take courage, actually, just to talk about it. The work itself was, you know, the experience of the cycle, there was no challenges there. I loved it. I just felt, I used to have these amazing experiences when I bled, because menstruation is just, if women understood what they could tap into at menstruation, oh my God, would we all be transformed. And I used to have these freaking cosmic experiences at menstruation, even as I was suffering, although the suffering got, you know, reduced more and more. But as I came out of menstruation, Angel, I'd sort of, you know, I'd sort of come up to ovulation and go, oh, maybe I was making that up, because there was no feedback from the world. There was no place I could go to. I mean, I had one or two friends who were lovely allies, but, you know, I wanted to sort of stand on the mountaintop and go, folks, this is amazing. But I would have been laughed at. And then so at ovulation, I go, oh, maybe I'm just making this up, you know. And then I'd come round to menstruation again, and there it would be again, these extraordinary states of being, this altered state of consciousness, exquisite feeling of love, this ecstasy, oh my God, this high energy. And I go, oh no, this is real, this is definitely real. So
it is. That's so amazing. I'm so grateful that you've had those experiences and that you are able to share that. I have had very similar experiences that changed my life and made me feel like protecting the freedom to honor my cycle is like one of the most important parts of my entire life, especially when I think about the fact that you have, you know, only so many cycles in your life. Like, I only have so many chances to experience that like euphoric, blissful, deep state of connection that I've never experienced anywhere else in my life. I just got to figure out how I can have the time and space to honor that.
Yes, you don't want to miss a single bleed, do you, when you can get that amazing gift each month? Yeah.
I definitely agree. So did you have difficulty with your cycle at all while you were growing up? Was it painful for you, or
no?
It was just you always had
my first experience of bleeding was really, I felt so proud and so full of light. I remember the light. It was summertime, and I remember the summer light coming in. It was early morning. I was at boarding school, and I just felt so proud and grown up. And no, I didn't have any problems with my cycle, and this pain came out of nowhere, absolutely out of nowhere, except, you know,
when Alexandra was 30, she started experiencing menstrual pain.
Yes,
okay.
30, yeah.
Wow. Well, that must have been a big shocker for you.
It was.
Wonderful. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume that Sjanie also has had really wonderful experiences during her menstrual cycle as well.
Yeah, it was so nice hearing you talk about it. And I think it's probably the thing that really drives Alexandra and I to share this work in the world, is that we want every woman to experience this, the power of menstruation for themselves. Because it sounds like a far-fetched thing, and it can be so easily missed if you are not in relationship with your cycle and you don't know how to provide the space to receive that. It is a bit of an art there, which I'll come to in a minute, but we want every woman to experience that, because when you felt it for yourself, that feeling of, you've both spoken about bliss and ecstasy and all those things, but also I want to name one of the things that for me is such a lifeline, is that feeling of deep love that I feel, and with that a sense of belonging, that I have a place, that I matter, that I am worthwhile and worthy. You know, we all need to feel that multiple times in our life, and at menstruation that is gifted to us. Life comes and wraps its great big arms around us and gives us this wash and wave of love. And that doesn't come from somewhere outer, it comes from within us. And that is such a powerful experience to have. There's no going back from that. It's like no one can take that goodness away from you. And as you go out into the world and receive all the criticism and have all the struggles and conflict and, you know, the challenges of life, there is something in you that is full with this love, And that allows you to have courage, as Alexandra did, but it also allows you to risk being yourself in the world. And we need that for ourselves. We all need to be ourselves in the world. That's what we're deeply longing for. But the world is longing for us to be ourselves in the world, to show up in our kind of uniqueness and to give what we've got to give, to serve life in that very singular way that we can. So that's what menstruation does. It lines us up with who we are, gives us a kind of deep inner resilience that then supports us to be out in the world, contributing and sharing and serving life. So, you know, surely we all women need this. Surely our planet needs all women to have this. It's so obvious.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I often think about
and it's free. It's free.
It's free.
It is
free.
Your body
It's free.
Freely.
Yeah. There's no downside, really.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I've often thought about how big of a difference there is when, like, times that I've been really truly allowed the freedom to honor my cycle and rest when I'm menstruating, how differently like the next month goes for me, how much more in alignment my whole life flows, and how much more natural energy I have to give, as opposed to if if I kind of stay busy while I'm bleeding and kind of, for lack of better terms, I'm just dragging ass for the rest of the month.
Yeah. You have summed it up really well. It's absolutely that. It's so, you know, how you bleed, how you menstruate sets the tone for your whole menstrual month. So if you can bleed well, and by that we mean have time and space for yourself to just completely drop your bundle and allow yourself to be taken by the energies of menstruation. You know, there's that lovely cocooning that happens, and this feeling of just wanting to let go of everything, well, that amazing release and kind of cleansing almost that goes on.
Yeah.
And then that feeling of and then the sort of oxytocin wash that we talk about, the sort of bliss and love that now then sort of floods through your being. I mean, that's so cosmic, that experience, soothing all your nervous system, and you kind of recalibrating. So you're releasing the stress of the previous month so you don't take it into the next cycle. You know, you're releasing all that stress. You're getting this, you're getting your nervous system all sort of rewired again. You're getting this amazing wash of love. So you're being tanked up. You know, you're being reminded, oh, I am worthy, I am okay, as Sjanie said. But you're also getting physical chi. You're sort of filling the actual physical energy tank, as well as sort of filling up your spirit, your soul. And then on top of that, you will get this amazing kind of connection to what you're about, what we call your wild power, you know, your calling, that sort of visioning capacity. And you can get these amazing downloads. You've probably had them where you go, oh my God, oh yeah, my save the world plan comes, you know, what you're about, what you should be doing, you know, you know, your creative expression in the world comes. And that's for me, the elixir of life, frankly, you know, that energy of that
Mm,
creative, you know, visioning. I just think it's a pure elixir of life.
yeah.
So you're filling the tanks on all sorts of levels. And it's like you're newborn. You're coming back to the world all sort of fresh and buffed up and, you know, yeah, with a fresh tank of energy in you. So you're setting yourself up for this beautiful arc of action again in the world and expressing yourself out there. And, you know, people often say, oh, but I haven't got time to stop. And I say, you haven't got time not to stop. If you don't stop,
Mm,
you are going to run down and burn out. And let me tell you, that's going to be way more expensive for you on
yeah.
all sorts of levels. And this is eminently wise, this system. No one, but no one can keep, not even robots can keep going forever. you
Right.
have you have to have downtime. It's like you can't miss your sleep at night. You know, that's crucial for you to have a good day. And it's similarly true with menstruation. Resting at menstruation will have far more effect than resting at any other time in your cycle. It pays much bigger dividends than resting at any. I mean, it's good to rest at any old time, but when you rest at menstruation, oh my God, do you do you refuel those tanks?
So good. So we should probably say here that you know, what we're all pointing to is the importance of rest at menstruation, and that's not a sort of outer dictation or something that you ought to or should or must do. This is about us really listening to and following the kind of rhythm and changes of our cycle. So, you know, our natural tendency at menstruation is to retreat from the world. It is to withdraw and slow down and recuperate. Just like at nighttime, that is our natural tendency, is to disengage and decompress and go to sleep. It's exactly the same with the cycle. That's what's needed. That's what our bodies, minds, hearts are wanting. And at ovulation, it's the opposite. There is this inclination to really engage with the world. We have more vitality and energy. There is a much more kind of active energy in our system. And I think so many of us kind of don't get confused about that because we don't have a relationship with our cycle, and we can easily override this. And then we experience all kinds of symptoms, mental health stuff, emotional reactivity, or feeling lost in our lives, not knowing what our meaning or purpose is, or just kind of really out of sorts in some way. So one of the things we teach at Red School is this practice of menstrual cycle awareness, which is the mindfulness practice for women. And it's because this is the practice that attunes you to this rhythm and helps you to really feel how your being is shifting and changing, how your energy is fluctuating, and how to really honor that and go with that. And that practice really is the key to experiencing all this amazing goodness that we've been talking about at menstruation. You know, if you want to experience this for yourself, if you're listening to this conversation and you're like, what the hell are they on about? It's practicing cycle awareness will help you to line up with your cycle in a way that makes that experience possible. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. I definitely agree. I would like to ask you both, what is your best advice for women who don't have as much freedom in their lifestyle to honor their cycles? This is something that I have personally been battling with since I lived in Hawaii. I had a lot more freedom to honor my cycle, and the longer I've stayed in America, the more it almost feels like the walls have like tried to close in on me and take up space that I usually use to honor my cycle. And I mean, I know this is a process that we're going through globally to make more space for the menstrual cycle, but for where we're at now, what's your advice for where we currently are in life if women really want to honor their cycles.
Mm-hmm. I love what you say about this being a kind of global process. That is so true. I mean, we're all living in a kind of linear paradigm, and so collectively we are needing to recover this valuing of cyclicity and sustainability. But having said all that, each of us can be a cog in that change. Each of us, by paying attention to our cycle, are helping to create that cultural shift, which again I find very exciting. So yes, your question is how does one live in a cyclical way and honor your cycle? So my life is like many people's lives. I have 2 children. I run my own organization. I'm homeschooling one of my children. I have a partner. I've got domestic, on and on the list goes. And how do I go about sort of creating these chunks of rest for myself? Well, the truth is it's not perfect and it's not ideal. And often I don't get exactly what I want. However, whatever I can carve out for myself can really go a long way. And this is what I've learned to appreciate, is like giving what we call at Red School, like finding your 1% way of honoring where you're at in your cycle. So sometimes it will just be little micro moves that you make. Instead of staying up just that little bit later, you go to bed just that little bit earlier. Instead of kind of rushing around tidying your house, on this day you just decide, screw it, I'm going to sit back and rest for the next 5 minutes. So there's like little incremental shifts that just create a different orientation in your being and actually allow your system to feel more soothed and less driven and less pushed. And it's the dropping of that driven energy which can make all the difference. So even if you're still having to go about things like, for example, parenting, you can just take your foot off the accelerator and just do it in a very sort of light touch way. Let them help themselves to food, or no matter how old they are. You know what I mean? Like find shortcuts, take shortcuts, lower your standards.
Lower your standards. Yes, I love you when you say that.
It's one of my greatest ambitions is to lower my standards wherever possible.
I'd love to come in here because I feel rather fierce about this, actually, about the power, the potential power we have to make change in these very small ways, and the big impact that it can have. And really, the first key to shifting things is a woman needs to feel she has the right to stop. You see, so many women feel guilty, and we've just got to dump that one in the bin. I mean, really, I'm just going to be so fierce now. Stopping is as crucial as doing. You cannot do business in life. You cannot be efficient, productive, creative without downtime, without empty space. You either do it consciously or you end up doing it in all sorts of unconscious ways. So I'm saying very fiercely now to all women.
I love it.
All menstruators,
Right.
listening to this recording now, that for you to dignify your experience of the cycle, don't worry about how you're going to get it first off. Just first of all, dignify your experience and recognize you have the right. Now, no one can give you that right, Angel. You have to go, I have the right to stop. And I have the right to stop when I bleed. Now, that is absolutely the first thing that has to happen. The second thing is that a woman needs to, or a menstruator needs to feel safe to be able to really stop and drop into the full powers of menstruation. So you have to think about how you can create safety for yourself. And then you set an intention. Intention might even come before safety. You feel as though you have first of all, you have the right, and then you go, okay, I've got the right. Now I'm going to set an intention that I get more time and space for myself at menstruation. And we go with that 1% that Sjanie spoke about. 1% more, and then it becomes like an adventure. How am I going to get it? How am I going to get my 1% more? But I'm going to get it because it's my right. And I tell you, your psyche, your brain, your psyche are going to get to work, and you're going to see all sorts of neat ways. You're going to suddenly go, you know what, I'm not going to say yes to that job, or I'm not going to, no, I'm not going to ring so and so. No, I'm not going to open social media right now. Gosh, I'm actually going to turn my phone off. How wild is that? Wow, I am going to say no to going out with my friends this evening. Because if you can't, you may not be able to control your working day, but I'm hoping you can control your private life to some extent. If you're a mother, that's another matter. And Sjanie was sort of addressing that. But even as a mother, how can you call in help? This is where you have to assert yourself and say, please, could you help me this evening? Because I would love to have an hour, and it can be an hour, folks. It can start, but by the way, it starts with an hour and it ends up with a whole day. Let me tell you, that's where you go in the end. Where I can just have an hour where I can shut out the world. I want to go and sink into a bath, and I just want to have no connection with anybody. I want to be in my own little bliss bubble for an hour. Would you help me do that? And I'm sure you've got allies in your life that are going to say yes. You are going to get creative. You're going to get creative about this. And the moment you taste the magic of menstruation, you're going to go, oh my God, oh yes, oh God, I've got to have this every week. And it'll be your mission in life. How do I get this? And make it fun for yourself. Make it fun. And some months it's imperfect. It just is. I can see it with Sjanie. Some months we just have so much on, but you still take something. Usually it's our working day together. I have to concede that to her. Because I know that if she can rest deeply at menstruation, I can see what she does. She does 20 people's jobs when she's ovulating. 20 people's jobs. I mean, you are on fire, Sjanie, when you're at the top of your cycle. It's hilarious. I'm going, oh my God, what's she on? She's done all these, she's incredible. And then suddenly the wheels fall off and, she has to pull in again. And I'm like that too. I'm post-menopause, but my need for rest does not stop, Angel. I still have to, I'm very disciplined. I'm very fierce, actually, about my downtime.
It's really wonderful. I have often thought sometimes that I wish that I would just not ever stop bleeding because it feels so much better than some of them sometimes. I really appreciate your passion and fierceness about this. I think that's really very needed in the world. And I really believe in the power of women and our ability to figure this puzzle out and get creative in our own life. And I think that a lot of women really just need the empowerment and the permission. And sometimes just hearing about it from another woman who's passionate about it like you is enough to flip the switch and be a catalyst for change in their life so that they can start honoring their cycles and listening to their own needs more. I'm really very excited about this work, and I just feel very honored to be connecting with both of you right now and to have come across your book. I can only imagine how amazing your Red School is. I would love it if you guys would just take a minute to talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So at Red School, one of our missions is to restore menstrual cycle awareness worldwide, that becomes commonplace. And we're doing that by training people who want to be menstruality leaders in the world. So we have a program called the Menstruality Leadership Program, which is both supporting people who want to really step into their full authority and leadership in whatever sphere or area of life that they are working in and living in. But also the focus is for those people who are wanting to bring menstruality either into their existing work or to be menstruality teachers in the world. So we offer that online and in person as a training program. And so that's kind of the core of our curriculum, if you like, at Red School. But we also do a 6-week Wild Power online course for those who are wanting to explore the power process of the menstrual cycle. And then we do a 6-week menopause online course for those who are negotiating the menopause transition before, during, or after it, actually. So those are the sort of central pieces of our work at Red School. But we have a very lively and gorgeous community of women, which, yeah, if you're listening to this and you would like to be a part of that and you're on Facebook, it's the Red School Cycle Awareness Community, and you could just let us know in there that you heard about us through this summit, and you are very welcome to be a part of that, because it's really good to be able to share your cycle experiences with others and have and hear about what other people are discovering. It's very affirming and very interesting as well. It's very supportive. So yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine that. It's probably a really wonderful space with beautiful people in it.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, it truly is.
Yeah.
It's special.
Hey, thank you so much for following the calling. Serve. I really appreciate you both. I just wanted to ask if there's any final words that you would like to offer. Anybody watching?
Oh, I would just love to encourage women to start practicing cycle awareness. Just the simple act of charting your cycle each day. We've got lots of information on our website about how to do that, because the moment you do that, you're stepping onto the path of the menstrual cycle gives you a direct line to yourself. So it's like you're just coming into this exquisite means of aligning with yourself in a very intimate and powerful way. Because it's inside you. This is the extraordinary power. It's inside you. It's inside us. It's already there. We don't have to go searching. It's the inner coach. It's the inner mentor. It's the inner spiritual teacher. So I just really want to encourage you to, or everyone listening, to just to step onto that path of cycle awareness and just begin to honor this rhythm. And you're just going to notice this lovely inner kindness, this inner sweetness growing, and a whole kind of new inner vista, inner cosmos opening up before you. So yes, take up cycle awareness.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo that and say, yes, start today. What day you're on, and start tracking your mood and energy. Just start today. So we call it the inner yoga of women, because it's really our means as women to experience that kind of union and love. And yes, so just start today.
Beautiful. I just want to clarify that. So when you say start today and like start tracking your cycle, are you talking about the same tracking as that's like fertility awareness, like using a chart or a journal? How would you recommend?
You can track in using any sort of means that you like, as in an app or a journal or what have you. But it's great to track the fertility awareness signs, but really menstrual cycle awareness is the practice of tracking your changing mood, energy, mental state. It's really working on
your needs.
Yeah. So if you go on to redschool.net, you will find we have a menstrual cycle awareness ebook there, which describes this practice, and is also, we write about it in great detail in Wild Power, but there are very specific steps to practicing it and how to go about that. But you can you can do it in all kinds of ways. I know people who have taken a stone every day and written a word, and they cycle day on it and put it in a circle and accumulated their tracking, doing something like that, or people have created, you know, mandalas of art every day, or you know, or just writing in your journal. So there are all kinds of ways you can do it, but the emphasis is on tracking your own shifting needs and mood and energy in accordance with your cycle.
And just to add to that, always know what day of your cycle you're on.
Yeah.
And as you do cycle awareness, you're going to get to know that certain days have a repeating pattern or theme about them. And then you make choices about your life around that. You see, you go, oh, it's day 25. I always think of a friend of mine, it was her don't mess with me day. So, and you know, you make very distinct choices, or you know, about what you do with your day when you know what's what.
When you're in the wild woman phase.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Angel.
Yeah, thank you both so much. I feel so much love and gratitude for both of you. I wish I could squeeze you both really tight.
Virtually received. Thank you.
Bless you.
Okay. Well, I hope you both have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everyone who has tuned into this episode. And redschool.net.
Yes,
that's right. Yeah,
okay.
redschool.net.
And what was the Facebook group called again?
Red School Cycle Awareness. Red School Menstrual Cycle Awareness.
No, it's actually Red School Cycle Awareness.
Oh, Red School Cycle Awareness. Yeah.
Okay, that one's on Facebook, and then the book that you both wrote together is called Wild Power.
Wild Power.
Yeah. Would love to access any more of these beautiful ladies' wisdom.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Angel. Thank you
so much.
Bye-bye.
Aloha.